Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. This is A Life Well Spent, and on this channel I am tracking my financial journey. We're going to talk about different aspects of personal finance, budgeting, debt payoff, setting goals, things like that. So if that sounds like something if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like this video if you want to see more like this. This is one of the type of videos that I do on my channel, and that is I do a weekly check-in of my spending. I do that because if I don't, I end up majorly overspending. Now, I can certainly, if you've checked any of my budget videos in the past, you can see that there have been times when I've overspent in certain categories as well. But I find that knowing if, I've gone over in a week somewhere, I find that that does a better job for me. Like, knowing that helps me stay on track and then maybe, not spend anymore and go over worse, or maybe help me cut back on another category to kind of make up for the difference there. But yeah, anyway, it's all about just sort of knowledge, right? Knowing your money, knowing your habits, knowing what exactly you're spending things on. Because that's how I kind of got into my financial mess in the first place. I had about, probably about $12,000 of consumer debt, and I have about, I think when I started this journey, I was about $15,000 in student loan debt. And I wanted to pay it off. I wanted to be consumer debt free, including my student loans. And I wanted to have, a better control over my finances. I am 40 years old. I'm actually 41. So I just turned 41. So I'm over 40 years old. And I'm feeling like I probably started this journey about 5 or so years ago of like really starting to think, well, no, wait a minute. Oh, you know what? Yes, it would be about 4.5, 5 years ago, because today is actually, I got a notification from my Amazon photo, like this day in, 5 years ago today, I actually closed on my house and was able to move in. So, that's about the time where I really started paying attention to my bills and my money. And I remember sitting down and kind of planning out like what I thought I was spending in each month. Like, I was never actually tracking it to find out. I was just thinking, well, I spend about maybe like $200 on groceries. And yeah, I probably spend like, I don't know, just $100 on like random stuff and, this, that. And I would sort of calculate out like how much I expected my savings to grow. And I would get to the end of the month and my savings would not grow. It wouldn't be there. Like, I would think that, okay, my bank account, my savings account's going to go from $6,300 to $7,500 because I don't spend that much. And I know exactly what my bills are and blah, blah, blah. And I was learning the hard, I'd get to the end of the month and I'd be like, but why do I only have like 6,800? I should have 75. Like, where did the rest of that go? And that kind of started me on a journey of like, I need to take better care of my money situation. I'm not paying attention. And I'm at the stage now where I just want to kick myself when I think of not only the money that I wasted on stupid things, money that I wasted paying like interest rates, that I would most definitely love to have in my pocket right now instead. But not only that, but the money that like I could have grown from that if I invested, if I knew what I was doing, and kicking myself and trying to make up for it now by keeping myself on a budget, and making sure that my money is doing what I want it to do and I'm not just wasting it. So I don't, in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, get to the point where I think, oh my God, I did all this stupid stuff with my money. So yeah, it's been a lot of deprogramming, We're a consumerist culture. Like, everything is designed to be consumerist, and, that's kind of what keeps our economy churning, right? And it's really easy to get caught up into that without realizing, like, wait a minute, I actually don't need a lot of these things. Like, I don't need most of this stuff. Why am I buying it? This is dumb. So yeah, it's a lot of deprogramming. I'm actually in the process of decluttering a lot. There are a bunch of books over my shoulder that are books that I'm getting rid of because they're taking up space. I don't really read them. I don't really need them. So is what it is. But I kept them around for so long because I was like, well, I bought them. But some of them I'm just giving kind of one final reread. Some of them I haven't read at all. I just intended to, and I never got around to it. So I'm going to try to read those and then get rid of them. And that's why they're on that pile. Donating to a library or something. Anyway, so what this video is this week is one of those things where I will go into my budget, I track all of my transactions, and I kind of review sort of where I am. So without further ado, we will get into that. So let me shrink my little video here. So, all right. This is a budget template that I use. Like, I'm still kind of working it out. I don't really like this bit. So I think I'm going to change that. But we'll see. And then I kind of have a transaction log over here, and this is actually set up so that as I put something in, it auto feeds over here. So that's great for me. Actually makes it really easy to keep track of what's being spent in each category. So in the first week of a month, I cover all of my general expenses. And this is something, yeah, I should have done this a couple of days ago. It is the 13th of July. Should have done this on the 8th. Things have been busy. So I have kind of all my bills set up that they come out. Most of them will come out on the first day. Almost every one of my financial responsibilities is out by the end of the first week. And in some cases by like the 4th or 5th, like all of my sinking funds move by then and all of that. So my mortgage, $676.03. I'm interested to see what that will do. Next month is my last mortgage payment before my payment will change. So if you own a house and you escrow your payments for like insurance and taxes and stuff, like this will be familiar to you. But your payment kind of changes from year to year to year based on like if your insurance goes down, the payment can go down because they need less in escrow. If your insurance goes up or your taxes go up, you know, they need more from escrow. So this will change at some point. I'm just not sure what it's going to do because I just dropped my insurance by about $200. In fact, they were going to charge me $200 more than I was currently paying. I went around shopping because about every 5 years you go around and shop your insurance. And I might actually do a video on that. So comment below and let me know if you'd like a video on the shopping around and, you know, sort of what that entailed. And, you know, the change in the reason why the price went up and that prompted me to shop around and all of that. Like I can certainly do that in a video. So comment below if that sounds like something that's useful and informational for you. So we'll see what that's going to look like after next month. My electric bill is $36.57. I don't really run my electricity all that much because, to be honest, I cannot stand artificial cold. Like, it makes me feel more cold. I will do it when I'm desperate. This bill is going to be a lot higher in the next month because we've had some days where it was getting into like the mid-high 90s. That's a little too much for me. I've got to... I'm definitely going to put the air conditioning on, especially since, so my neighbors had this gorgeous big tree that unfortunately was dying and they had to they cut it down, and they really did have to cut it down. Like, it was whatever, but it was this gorgeous old tree, probably 100 years old. And it kept my house so shaded, like even like just all of the branches. It wasn't really leafing out very much, but, the branches still were covered, like put enough of my house in the shade that it kind of kept manageable in the summertime. In fact, even in the 90s, when I had dogs, I'd put the air conditioning on for them. But if it were just me in the house, I wouldn't really bother. But now without that tree, whew, it's miserable. Sewer, $58. That's a flat rate. Water, $18.97. That's a flat rate for minimum usage. I hardly ever even get to the minimum usage. Sometimes I go over, but it is what it is. It's a weird flat rate. Like, I don't understand why they don't just like make it $19. It's so weird to me. So, gas bill, $26.12. I usually use gas for heat, and for cooking, but I don't do a lot of cooking and baking on my stove because my house is hot in the summertime. So I'll usually like make tea in the morning, or I'll cook something in the morning. And then I'm like out using my grill and stuff instead of my, stove. So Comcast 125, I actually have to go in and change that because July is when they change my bill, and they just charged me something. They just put my bill up like $20, and I don't know why, because I think I'm at the end of those like contract things. So I'm thinking that like now I'm like loosey-goosey without a contract. So I've got to get in contact with them I need to do some research too, though, because I really don't want to have TV. Like, I don't care for TV at all. Like, I'm not, okay, maybe after the Olympics. I do like watching the Olympics, so that'll be different. However, I just want to do something like Sling or whatever. Like, that to me is way too expensive to spend. And so I've got to kind of talk to them, but I share a package with my parents, and my dad specifically wants to be able to watch pretty much one channel. It's all this for one channel. Well, no, that's internet too, but the cable is all pretty much for one channel that I don't think we can access any other way, unfortunately. But I'm going to do some research to see if that has changed. Got my first paycheck of July. It's a 3-pay month, so yay! My mother put $50 into my bank account. We each put $50 into a brokerage account for my niece, and so we started that last month, and so she gave me hers. Bought gas at Sheetz, $39.51. I went to a brewing company for trivia and dinner. That was $35.26. We went to Applebee's afterwards, $9.41. We wanted dessert, and they didn't have dessert at the brewing company. I spent $102 on Amazon. I bought some clothes. Specifically, I bought a bunch of Thinx underwear, which, ladies, if you have not ever tried them, try them. If you want to wait till they go on sale or something, try them, but they are fantastic. They're period underwear, and I am so mad at myself for waiting so long to even try them, and they're glorious. They're glorious. So I bought a few more pairs so that I could actually had one pair, which is kind of useless. I'm not washing them like every night and trying to dry them and all that stuff. So I got a couple of pairs, more than a couple, but enough to kind of get me through. Let's see, life insurance, $7.50, $10 to Planned Parenthood. That's one of my giving. $22.09 for groceries. I went to, paid my student loan bill. My mother puts $200 in my account to pay that. It's a deal that we had 20 years ago, and the stupid bill's still around. So that's kind of part of what I'm also irritating about myself. Although that's not really my money, it's my parents' money. We had it set up that way because that's how they wanted it, and they put $200 a month. She gives me $200 a month. I put $200 on. Part of that, however, though, I do want to just pay it off and get it over with. Like, I don't want my parents to necessarily have to keep paying, so I'm piling up cash at this point in an effort to have enough that I can just kind of do a lump sum payment if any of the student loan cancellation just kind of out. Okay, oh, I got my car detailed at Honda. It hadn't been cleaned in ages, and I honestly didn't have the time or the energy, and I've had a bad back lately, so I just paid someone to detail it. I don't regret it. Came out of my car repair fund. I sent $10 to Fair Fight. I spent $10.06 at Little Caesars. I was actually going with some friends over to a friend's house to go swimming, and I picked up lunch for everybody as kind of a, hey, thanks for letting me swim in your pool when it's 112. It's not actually that hot, but it felt like it. I paid my cell phone bill. I did actually go over on my data, so they charged me for an extra gig, so that's a little bit higher this month. That's into Fidelity. We put $100 into the brokerage account for my niece, and I went to the grocery store and bought $20.29 worth of groceries. Some of that, actually most of that, is for my mom. She'll be reimbursing me for it. But yeah, that's the spending for the first week of July. And so, doing okay. I have lots of spending that's going to be going on. So my house and utilities this month, $996.03. My other expenses, $562.22 for a grand total of $1,558.25. I also moved money over into each of my sinking funds that I keep and have going. But that is my first week. It's probably going to get ugly by the end. I know that at the end of the month, I have a trip planned to go to a fabric shop where I have some quilts I need to finish, and I'm going to go down to the shop. So I am going to be buying a lot of fabric, and that's going to be an expensive haul. And I am possibly going out of town. I just haven't decided where I am going yet, but I have a lot of options. I can go just about anywhere I want in the Northeast pretty easily, and I'll drive there. So that's going to change some of the dynamics of this budget, but we'll see. I have $600 in my miscellaneous and $450 to cover both of those.